Good afternoon, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well this afternoon. Ms. Bridgewater, good afternoon. When is the SAP reset day?
It's July 30th.
Okay. Let's see, we will get started as soon as courtroom 2 comes online. Okay, you ready to get started, courtroom 2? Okay, good afternoon, ladies. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the
Good afternoon.
State Court Expedited Accusation calendar that we are conducting by video to help prevent the spread of the virus. If
You all
anyone,
hear courtroom number 2?
yes, if anyone has an objection to having their case heard by video, please let me know when you come before me. You have a right to remain silent. Anything that you say can be used against you. You have a right to have an attorney present at these proceedings. We're providing you with the assistance of a public defender if you choose to utilize their services this afternoon. For those of you that are on Zoom call, we're happy to have you here this afternoon. Please conduct yourselves as if you were actually in a courtroom with me. Do not be moving around. Make sure you get yourself at a stable place so that if you would like to address the court at some time that you are in the proper location to do such. Did we lose courtroom 2?
They're logging back on now, Your Honor.
Do we have an interpreter here yet?
Yes,
You
we
all
do,
hear me
Madam.
now?
Yes, we can hear you now. Madam Interpreter is on the line also, so just so that you all know that she's with us and can help us with, so that she can help us when necessary.
Yeah, okay. I have an interview to client that I need to go to a breakout room for with the interpreter.
Okay, so we'll make that happen. Good afternoon, Mr. Cook.
Good afternoon.
Okay, who do we have in courtroom 2?
Me, Alberto, her son.
Yes, no, so we're not addressing you. Courtroom 2? All right, courtroom 2, you're gonna have to unmute for me and let me know who we have. We're ready to go.
Are there any waivers, PDs I need to pull?
I have none. I don't know about Miss Kim.
Your Honor, good afternoon.
Good afternoon,
Uh,
Ms. Anderson.
I just wanted to just make a quick announcement. I'm here to address Lauren Clark. He may be an add-on. I don't think we've received a formal calendar yet. The solicitor's office agreed to hear this today to correct an error because he did not have a bond on one of his charges.
And I'll handle that, Your Honor. No problem at all.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, apparently courtroom two is having a problem with logging on, so we'll get started as soon as they are with us. Court will be in recess until they rejoin us.
Ready?
Okay. So who do we have? Courtroom one?
Position number 2, Blair.
Yes,
And Your
good
Honor,
afternoon.
this is a dual arrest case with position 1 as well.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Desiano. Good afternoon, Ms. Blair. You've been charged in case 24 CR 004727C with simple battery family violence. There a history, Mr. Howard?
Third, 2015 probation, 2013 reckless conduct conviction. That's all.
Okay. Yes, Ms. Desiano?
Your Honor, this incident took place on July 15th, 2024. Officers responded to a dispute at 8350 Roswell Road, apartment 1N in Sandy Springs. Upon arrival, they made contact with Barry Andrews, who stated that Ms. Blair got in his face, slapped him. The argument went over to the kitchen where she struck him in the head with a metal water cup. She grabbed his phone and threw it. Mr. Andrews had a small cut on his hand. Ms. Blair told the police that the parties were arguing in the kitchen. Mr. Andrews cornered her and he grabbed her face and she hit him in the head with a jug, and the parties started arguing or fighting from there. Ms. Blair had no injuries except for Mr. Andrews' dog bit her while she was scuffling with him. For Ms. Blair, our office is requesting a signature bond through pretrial services. I'll defer to the court as far as contact and stay away, taking complete 1 day of anger awareness, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond.
Good afternoon, Ms. McLeod. Is this your case?
It is, Your Honor. Good afternoon. We are okay with the signature bond through pretrial, Your Honor. My client would prefer no further violent contact with the cross defendant because they are in a relationship and they live together at this location.
Who represents Barry Andrews?
Mr. Andrews is not in the courtroom, sir. We only have females out.
Yes, I know he's not. I still want to know who represents him. That's my question.
That's me, Your Honor. That's Keith Cook, Your Honor.
Is Mr. Andrews going to have any objection to contact?
No, he does not have any objection to contact.
Okay. As such, it'll be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1, 1 day anger awareness, no further violent contact with Barry Andrews, and no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Ms. Blair.
Position 3, Brown.
Good afternoon, Ms. Brown. You've been charged in case 24 CR 004738H with battery. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
Fourth arrest, 2024 obstruction, disorderly conduct, 2017 FTA, 2016 simple battery. That's all.
Graciano?
Your Honor, this incident took place May 17th of this year. There was a fight call at 3400 Inner Loop Road in Hapeville. That's my understanding. The incident location is a cargo hub for several airlines out of Hartsfield. The victim, Kirsten Brown, advised that she got into an argument with her coworker, Shalia Brown. When their work shift was over, the coworker's twin sister, who is the defendant, came to pick up Miss Shalia Brown from work. She advised that Shalia Brown threw a punch at her. The party started fighting, and the defendant got involved and pepper sprayed her and kicked her in the head several times. The officer noted that the victim had a lump on her forehead. There were several witnesses to the altercation who all told the police that the defendant and her twin sister, Shalia Brown, were the aggressors. Our office has been in touch with the victim. She states that she worked at the incident location. There's been ongoing issues with the coworker and her twin sister. She states the company is no longer in business, so none of them work at that location anymore. She has not seen or spoken to the defendant since this incident and would like no contact. Our office is requesting a signature bond through pretrial, no further contact with the victim. Stay away from the incident location to the extent that's relevant. 1 day anger awareness, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol out on bond, and if the court can sound for Miss Kirsten Brown.
Ms. Brown is on the line and wishes to address the court. Now is your opportunity to do so.
I'm on the line, but I don't, everything is fine. I don't wish to address.
Okay, thank you for being here this afternoon, ma'am.
Thank you.
Mr. Cook?
Your Honor, we would object to the anger management. Beyond that, we would have no objection to the recommendation.
It would be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1, 1 day anger awareness, no further contact with Kirsten Brown, and no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Ms. Brown.
Number 4, Diggs.
Good afternoon, Ms. Diggs. You've been charged in case 24CR004739D with unlawful conduct during a 911 call. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
Eighth arrest. 2020 battery DV. It was dismissed. 2010 simple battery dismissed. 09 trespass, disorderly conduct conviction, and 05 stalking conviction. That's all.
Your Honor, this incident took place over the course of 2 days on July 13th and July 14th of this year. The defendant essentially kept calling 911 to report false crimes. The most recent call that led to her arrest, she told 911 that Tyler Perry shot her daughter. They responded when they came out. No one was there. They asked how she knew that. Her response was that she feels her spirit over her. The day before that, she called telling police, or 911 rather, that someone was banging on her door with a gun trying to kill her. Officers responded and the defendant refused to answer the door. While on scene, the dispatcher told the officer on scene that the defendant had called 2 prior times, making false statements within these 2 days. The state is requesting a signature bond through pretrial services, either a BHET or an MHET, given the circumstances of this case. No calling 911 unless it's an emergency, and no weapons, drugs, or alcohol out on bond.
Mr. Cook?
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 45, has lived in the area her entire life. We have no objection to the signature bond. Given that it's a misdemeanor, they typically like to start with the BHET, so we would have no objection to that.
Okay, it'll be $1,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1, BHET, no use of 911 unless you have an actual emergency, and no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Ms. Diggs.
Number 10,
Good afternoon, Ms. Hogan. You have been charged in case 24CR004723E with theft by shoplifting. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
No.
Yes, Ms. Dunlap.
Thank you, Your Honor. This incident when she was arrested stems from September 2nd, 2023 at 1135 Woodstock Road in Roswell. That's a Target. Officers responded to a shoplifting incident. They were speaking to loss prevention, who identified the defendant, that attempted to steal a bag of dog food and altered a price tag on a shirt. They've actually been tracking her. She had several incidents stemming from May 31st, 2023, where she did a ticket swap, June 2nd, 2023, where she skipped scanning an item, June 10th, 2023, where she did a ticket swap, July 3rd, 2023, she did a ticket stop, April 19th, where she did a ticket swap and a skip scan, and then the last one was the September 2nd, 2023, where she did another ticket swap. After reviewing the photos and video provided by loss prevention, they saw that her photo matched and officers arrested her. The state is looking for a signature bond through pretrial. Stay away from that Target located at the 1135, Woodstock Road, an anti-theft course, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond.
Good afternoon, Mr. Cohen. This is your client.
It is, Judge. This is, as the state and the court indicated, this is a first lifetime arrest for Ms. Hogan. She's 64 years old. She'll be 65 years old in about 2 weeks. She's lived in Georgia for the last 31 years, married, raised 2 grown children. She's been married lived at the same address for the last 28 years. In this particular case, we would ask for a signature bond through the jail, not necessarily through pretrial. I would have no objection to her doing the anti-theft course. That's something that I was going to recommend anyway, which would be the 4-hour, as long as it's a 4-hour theft course, and I can do it through AACS. We have no objection to the stay away from that particular target. And we would just ask the signature bond through the jail. Sometimes it's quicker than trying to get out through pretrial. I think this may be a reasonable case for some sort of diversion, but we would ask, I think $2,000 signature through the jail would be appropriate in this case, Judge.
Okay, it'll be a $2,000 signature bond through the jail, 4-hour anti-theft class, stay away from the Target on Woodstock Road, and no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond.
Thank you,
Good
Judge.
luck. You're welcome.
Number 15, Hickman.
Good afternoon, Ms. Pittman. You've been charged in case 24 CR 004730F with criminal trespass and simple battery against a police officer, police dog, corrections, or detention officer. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
No.
Yes, Ms. Dunlap.
Thank you, Your Honor. This incident happened on July 15, 2024 at 3393 Peachtree Road in Atlanta. That's Neiman's parking lot. Officer spoke to mall security who stated the defendant was refusing to leave the parking lot. She was being combative and refused to listen, winding up her window. When officer was talking to her, she did the same thing, winded up her window and continued talking on the phone. Officers tried to open her door to get her to step out of the car. She closed the door, locked it. When officers were walking around the car to the other side, she put her car in drive and made contact with the officer. The state is looking for a signature bond through pretrial. Stay away from that Neiman's located at 3393 Peachtree Road, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond.
Hey. Yes, Ms. Kim.
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 33 years old. We have no objection to a signature on bond. We would like to request for a signature on bond through jail. This is her first arrest, and she's recommended for UJR by pretrial service. And she is gainfully employed with her own business. And Your Honor, she has a GED. She does not have any children, and yet she denies the allegations of these cases, and we would like to request for a signature on bond through jail. Thanks.
For the criminal trespass, it'll be $1,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. The simple battery, a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1, makes for a total of a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. Stay away from the Neiman's parking lot, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck, Ms. Pittman.
Number 16, Stalling.
This is a co-defendant case.
Okay. Co-defendant with what position?
Miles Whitmore. I'm sorry, I don't have his position. Give me 1 second.
22. Okay. Good afternoon, Ms. Starling. You've been charged in case 24CR004731E with battery family violence. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
Stalling 6 total, 2023 battery DV. That's open 23CR008001E. Got another open case, simple battery DV. It's 20CR005558E. Open shoplifting and Cobb. The open battery, I think it's the same victim. I think you gave her a pretrial last year, I think.
That is correct.
Yeah. And that's 5,000. So nothing further.
This incident date stems from July 15, 2024 at 1870 Myrtle Drive Southwest in Atlanta. The victim in this case is the co-defendant, Mr. Miles Whitmore. Officers arrived on the scene and spoke to Mr. Whitmore, who stated that his ex-girlfriend, the defendant, was standing on his front porch. They have 2 ongoing cases, as you heard. He stated he asked her to leave and she charged at him. He sprayed her with lighter fluid and then she punched him in the face as she was being sprayed. Mr. Whitmore's sister allowed her to come wash her face, to which Mr. Whitmore stated she then attacked him again with a liquor bottle, causing a cut to his cheek and punching him. He stated at some point she got a knife and attempted to stab him before leaving. Officers were able to locate the defendant on the scene and was able to get her side of the story. She stated that Mr. Whitmore's birthday was yesterday and he asked her to come have sex with him, which she stated she refused. She made a post on Instagram, which he became angry. And then he began to spray lighter fluid on a shirt and cloth. It got on her clothes and sprayed her as well. She also stated he threw her cell phone and punched her at some point. She also stated that he also grabbed a knife. The 2 open cases, it looks like she had bit him on the shoulder before and then struck him. The other case was when she struck him with jumper cables. The state is looking for a $4,000 surety bond. No further contact again with the victim and Mr. Miles Whitmore. A stay away from 1870 Myrtle Drive Southwest, assuming that is Mr. Whitmore's address. 1-day anger awareness or drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond.
Yes, Ms. McLeod.
Your Honor, this is not the first incident between my client and Mr. Whitmore. And I have to let the court know that they had an incident in which I represented her, the open case which pretrial referred to, and they were both given as a condition of their bond no further contact. But apparently they did have contact based on what we're hearing, Your Honor. So I just wanted the court to know that that is the situation. I am not going to ask a signature bond because I know the court will not be inclined to give a signature bond under those circumstances. But my client is not working, so I would ask the court to give her as low a bond as possible. She has moved from that location, she tells me, and that was part of what was going on. She wanted to leave. He did not want her to leave, and he sprayed her with lighter fluid and attacked her. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Okay, so what you're telling me is that they were both living at that 1870 Myrtle Drive address at the time of this incident?
This last incident, Your Honor, yes.
Okay, and previously I had, at least with her, ordered that she have no further contact with him?
Both of them, Your Honor. This was in 2023.
Okay, and he has something, he was given a stay away also?
That is correct, Your Honor. They were both told not to have any further contact with each other.
Your Honor, if I may, when did she move? This incident happened yesterday.
She moved yesterday. She was in the process of getting away from there when it got ugly.
Because I believe the warrant, if I'm not mistaken, said sorry, give me a second then. I need to relook at this.
She was in the process of leaving because they had a disagreement and she decided, you know what, I need to leave. Because she tells me that she was homeless after the incident and she essentially was living on the street and he came and, told her that she should come back to his house, which she did. But And this is 2 months ago, but obviously they don't get along very well when they're around each other.
Okay, so it's gonna be a $3,000 good bond. No further contact with Mr. Whitmore. Stay away from the Myrtle Drive address, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, good luck to you, Ms. Stallings. Before we move forward, courtroom one, I've been told that we have a Spanish interpreter on the line. She's only available for the next 20 minutes. Is there any way that we can utilize her services before she has to leave? I'm not sure if she's able to come back this afternoon or not.
Someone go to another courtroom to log on.
Okay. Thank you.
Next is number 17. Yes.
Good afternoon, Ms. Stevens. You've been charged in case 24 CR 004735A with theft by taking. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
Fourth, 2024 FTA. 2024 giving false name. 2015 shoplifting and giving false name.
Ms. Dunlap?
Sorry, is this Shaquandis Stevens, correct?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay, thank you. This incident happened on June 4th, 2024 at 5585 Rock Lake Drive in South Fulton. The victim in this case is Aya Faty. I don't want to mispronounce that. Officers responded to a domestic dispute call and advised that his daughter-in-law, who was defendant, were in a dispute over his car. The defendant had had the victim's car for 3 days and said she wasn't giving it back because he owed her money. The victim asked her to come pick him up from work to go to a doctor's appointment. She agreed to do that. And when they got back to his house, after she picked him up from work, he asked for his car back and attempted to take the keys. They began to fight over the keys. Defendant then put them in her pocket and ran out of the vehicle. When officers spoke to the defendant, she stated she didn't have the keys and then stated she did, was going to return to her location. She never showed up and stopped answering calls from the officer. The state is looking for a signature bond through the jail. No further contact with the victim, Aya Faty. Stay away from 5585 Rock Lake Drive, Rock Lack Drive, assuming that is the victim's address, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond.
Okay, any objection to any of that, Ms. Kim?
No objection, Your Honor.
Okay, it'll be a $3,000 signature bond through the jail. No further contact with the alleged victim. Stay away from the Rock Lake Drive address. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck, Ms. Stevens.
Thank you. Next is number 19, Mr. Warren.
Good afternoon, Mr. Warren. You've been charged in case 24 CR 004736C with criminal trespass. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
Warren, 5 total. 2024 trespass, obstruction, possession of meth, possession of cocaine, possession of a Schedule 1, misdemeanor possession of marijuana. Got the open trespass, obstruction in state court. It's 24 CR 002248D. 2021 trespass, ag assault, obstruction, that was dismissed. 2023 criminal damage to property.
Okay.
This incident happened on July 15, 2024 at 1270 Spring Street Northwest. That is the Spectrum Apartments. Officers responded to a criminal trespass at this location. They spoke with the property manager, Kendrick Williams, who advised the defendant was previously trespassed and continues to come back. The previous case number on this is 241-960-561. The state is looking for a signature bond through the jail, and he needs to stay away from the Spectrum Apartments. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond.
So this,
No objection, Your Honor, from defense.
is the open criminal trespass, is that from the same location? Do you know, Ms. Dunlap?
I'm double checking. I didn't know if it was the same location. I just had the case number from the original. 1 second.
My client says no, and yet I want to make sure the state agrees as well.
I found it. Just give me 1 second to look at the location. No, this is a different location.
Okay, and was he given a signature bond the last time? And if
Yes.
so, and did I give it to him?
No, Judge Mincy, Your Honor.
Okay. Any objections to any of the state's request, Ms.
No
Kim?
objection, no objection, Your Honor.
All right, it'll be a $2,000 signature bond through the jail. Stay away from the Spectrum Apartments on Spring Street, and no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Mr. Warren, if you come back before me on another criminal trespass case, I'm not going to give you a signature bond the next time. Okay. All right. Good luck to you, sir.
Number 21, West.
Afternoon, Mr. West. You've been charged in case 24 CR 004732C with simple battery family violence. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
2022 probation. Appears to have open case out of Clayton County. 2022 ag assault, simple battery. 2021 simple assault, trespass, arrest. 2020 battery, disorderly conduct, conviction. 2020 simple battery, disorderly conduct, conviction. 2019 simple battery, conviction. 08 terrorist threats, robbery, convictions. I saw holes out of East Point in the cab, and 2 Orca bench warrants that you signed. That's all.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Allen, good afternoon. Is this your case?
Yes, Your Honor. Good afternoon. The defendant does have 2 bench warrants out of his failure to appear in April of this year.
Excuse me. I was calling the court.
This is an incident that occurred, Mr. West, on July the 14th at 10:42 p.m. Police responded to the location at 1350 Mason Turner Road Northwest. The victim located at that residence, Dontavius Riley. Mr. Riley reported that he had a dispute with his brother. Mr. Riley was standing outside, reported he'd been punched in the face twice and that the brother had made threats to harm police if police came to the door, as well as himself. Police asked if the defendant had access to firearms. They were told that he did not, but that he has history. Eventually, the defendant was talked out of the second-story window and taken into custody. He is charged with a simple battery punching in the face of his brother, Dontavius, Dontavious Riley, Riley. Considering the current open bond, failure to appear, and history, we'd be asking for a $2,000 surety bond, Your Honor. No contact with the victim in this case, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons.
Yes, Ms. Kim.
Oh, we were gonna ask for his brother to be announced, I guess.
If Mr. Dontavius Riley is on the line and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. I don't see him, Ms. Kim, nor did he respond to my sounding.
Was he lying?
Your Honor, we have been in touch with Mr. Riley. He indicated he wanted his brother to get some assistance with MH issues and becoming medication compliant. And so we'd request that a condition of the bond be to take medications as required.
Okay. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. My client, Mr. West, is 37 years old. He has been here in Georgia for more than 34 years. And he lives alone. That apartment, he has been there for 1 year, and he got it from DeKalb Community Service Board. They were assisting him to have a housing. Your Honor, my client is a full-time caregiver for his girlfriend, and he does have a little bit of a part-time working as a car wash, a customer service representative, Your Honor, and it's a part-time. And he does not have an education for high school yet, but he's still pursuing 4 points away from his getting GED. So he is enrolled at Atlanta Tech College. And we would like to request for signature on bond during pre-trial. He has 2 other counties that he has to go to. There are East Point hold and DeKalb County hold. So he will be in jail for a long time. Besides, he also has 2 other failure to appear. So he's not going anywhere, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Allen, if you would, for the court, place those other 2, the ORCA cases that he has, the case numbers in the chat for Ms. Bridgewater for me.
Of course.
I see them on the calendar, Your Honor.
Oh, okay, thank you. So I'd like them all addressed at the SAP calendar on July 30th if he does not get out of custody. For today, it'll be a $3,000 good bond. No further contact with Dontavius Riley. Stay away from the Mason Turner Road address. Maintain.
Excuse me, sir. That's my house. That's my house. These people gave me that apartment. He's staying in my house. He breaking in my doors. I call his probation officer. I call my doctor. I call everybody and told them that he taking my stuff. He kicking in my doors. He running a drop call out the house. I call.
Okay, but Mr. West, Mr.
Turn my power off.
Mr. West, you'll have to work that all out once you get out of custody. But
Your Honor, we'd be okay with no contact.
That's my house, 1350 Mason Turner. How you tell me I'm barred from my house? That's my house.
Does your brother live there?
I believe that the victim reported to us that the location was the defendant's home.
He's breaking in my house. You say it's the defendant's house? Oh, it's in my name.
So I'm not gonna.
My name and the
Mr.
house.
West, if you want to listen to me, I'm happy to address you, but so I hear what you're saying. So I'm not gonna bar you for once you get out from going back to Turner Road. But I've already issued some bench warrants against you for not appearing in another court that I have. Okay, so I'm going to try to address all these cases all together on July 30th. So for today, it'll be a $3,000 good bond. No further contact with your brother, Mr. Riley. Maintain your current prescription medications and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
Excuse me, so my judge ordered me to take my own medication. He don't know anything about me. My doctor name, Dr. Martinez.
Okay, Mr. West. I'll see you back on July 30th. Who do we have next?
Position 6, Gibson.
Good afternoon, Mr. Gibson. You've been charged in case 24 CR 004741F with criminal trespass. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
16, 2024 PI arrest. On probation for 2 counts of burglary, 2nd degree. It's 22 SC 184195. 2024 theft by receiving, theft by reception conviction, theft by deception. I'm sorry. 2023 theft by receiving arrest, 2019 probation, 2019 petty theft, that was out of state. 2018 theft by deception, NOLO, 2018 failure to appear, a simple battery NOLO from 2018, and a 2016 shoplifting conviction.
Judge, this incident took place on July 15th, 2024. Around 3 in the morning, officers responded to a trespassing call at 2263 La Vista Court in Atlanta. The caller was the owner of the property. He stated that he observed via security camera a male wearing a long white robe and no other clothes, trying to kick in the front door. He made entry into the residence by kicking in the door. When officers arrived, they observed that the deadbolt had been ripped off. They found the defendant upstairs in a bedroom, naked, wearing sunglasses. The occupants of the home, so this home is vacant at this time, Judge, but it's not, essentially the owner, one of the owners has passed away and the other owner is staying elsewhere, is my understanding. But this house is not entirely vacant. And I believe that the bedroom that this defendant was found in was furnished. And the incident was caught on the Ring camera footage. Our office has been in touch with the owner of the property. He states that he was not present during this incident. He stated that the other owner has recently passed away, and that's why the unit is vacant at this time. He stated that he plans to return to the unit to stay. He wants no contact with the defendant, wants him to stay away from the residence. We also got in touch with the neighbor who heard this incident. She stated that she saw the defendant break into the unit, which was next to hers. She's never had no one's had any interaction with this defendant before. Your Honor, heard he has an extensive criminal history, and of what note, he is on probation for 2 counts of burglary. So in light of that, the state is requesting a $1,000 good bond, no further contact with the victim, stay away from the incident location, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol out on bond. And I believe Mr. Morrison is on the line, if you can sound for him.
Marvin Morrison.
Yes.
Mr. Morrison, if you would like to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. You, of course, do not have to, but if you would like to, you'll need to unmute yourself, activate your camera, and I'll have to swear you in. And it does not appear that he'd like to address the court this afternoon. Is this your case, Ms. Kim?
Actually, no.
Okay, who's representing Mr. Gibson?
I believe it was Petey Cook, who is still interviewing Hernandez in Spanish.
Okay, well, you all have to let me know that someone is away that's not going to be able to handle it before we get to the end of a all right, who do we have next?
Whitmire, come on up. Sit right there. Sit right there, please.
Okay, we ready, Ms. Kim?
Yes, you are. Yes, you are, nurse.
Tell me who we have.
Miles Whitmire. Number 22.
Okay. So this was the co-defendant with Ms. Stallings. Good afternoon, Mr. Whitmire. You've been charged in case 24 CR 004729E with battery family violence. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
4th arrest, 2022 FTA. 2019, it was a drug arrest with a gun charge. It was dismissed. 2016 simple battery obstruction arrest. That's
Fallon?
Thank you, Your Honor. First off, just to correct the record, Mr. Whitmire is a victim in 2 active cases. For Ms. Stalling, she has a bond order prohibiting contact with him. He is not under an order that prohibits contact. So the suggestion that there's a mutual order is a false claim. This is a dual arrest. The incident you heard about earlier, this is from July the 15th of 2024. The defendant admitted spraying lighter fluid into the face of the co-defendant, Kiana Stalling. That's what the battery is for, Your Honor. This, again, is an incident that occurred at 1870 Myrtle Drive. That's apartment F9 at 3:30 in the afternoon. Both defendants report that they had been living together and that there was an altercation. I would note that Mr. Whitmire had injuries as a result of, it looks like being struck with an object, but he was unclear about that information. So the battery family violence is the charge that we're moving forward on, Your Honor. He completed diversion on a prior simple battery with a different victim and has a conviction for simple battery, family violence, and criminal trespass from 2017 with a different victim. We'd be asking for the same type of bond. No contact, obviously, is the most important piece here, Your Honor. $2,000 surety is what we'd be requesting just based on the history.
Okay, Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor, my client denies the allegation. He was a victim of this case. As you can see, he has a lot of bite marks and punches and scratches all over his face. And he was attacked by a complaining witness, cross-defendant with a knife. So he had to defend himself. And Your Honor, they do not live together. They have no child. My client does not want to have any contact with her. He is very scared of her. Your Honor, he is a full-time mother's caregiver, and he also used to work at an Italian restaurant, but to be able to help his mother more, he actually reduced a lot of hours at the restaurant. He does have one child. He pays weekly child support. He pays a lot of money for that. Almost all the money that he makes is going to his child, but they don't share the child with her. He's a very responsible, proud father, and we would like to request for a signature on bond through a pretrial, whichever level Your Honor deems to find it appropriate. We ask for either pretrial level 3 or maximum $100, a good bond, Your Honor. Thanks.
Okay, it'll be a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 3. No further contact with Ms. Stallings. No drug, alcohol, weapons while out on bond.
Thank
Good
you
luck.
very much, Your Honor.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Shall we take the interpreter case next? Are we ready on that one? So that Madam Interpreter can be released?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, is that in medical?
That's where we were, Your Honor.
Okay,
Oh, yeah, there we go.
and who do we have?
Ms. Hernandez, position 9.
And Madam Interpreter, if you can raise your right hand for me, do you swear you will translate from English to Spanish and Spanish to English to the best of your ability?
I do.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Ms. Hernandez. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video.
Buenas tardes, señora Hernández. Mi nombre es el juez Eric Morrow y estamos ahorita en el calendario expedido de las acusaciones para ver su caso el día de hoy.
Okay.
Okay.
You have been charged with battery, family violence, and 5 counts of cruelty to children in the 3rd degree.
Usted está siendo acusada de agresión y violencia familiar y 5 cargos de crueldad en contra niños, número 3.
Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
Y le está pidiendo un historial de si tiene antecedentes.
6 total arrests. 2019 alien inadmissibility, 2019 probation, 2019 theft by shoplifting dismissed, and a 2018 battery, simple battery dismissed.
Mr. Brown, I'm sorry, Mr. Howard, can you repeat that for the interpreter, please?
6 arrests. And interpret that, please, ma'am. So I don't know where to cut it off at. So I'm gonna say one piece by piece. So she got 6 total.
Ha tenido, y en sus antecedentes ha tenido 6 arrestos previos en total.
2019 alien inadmissibility.
Uno en el 2019 por ser inadmitida ilegalmente.
2019 probation violation.
En el 2019 una violación de probatoria.
2019 shoplifting dismissed.
Tiene un cargo en el 2019 también por robo, el cual se le fue quitado.
2018 battery, simple battery dismissed.
Y en el 2018 tenía una agresión y agresión simple, los cuales también se le fueron retirados.
Judge, that's all.
Okay, Ms. Desiano.
Your Honor, this incident took place on July 15th, 2024. Officers were dispatched to 2520 Jonesboro Road in reference to a dispute.
Su señoría, esta acusación ocurrió, el evento ocurrió el 15 de julio del 2024 en la calle, en la dirección de 2520 en Jonesboro Road. Los agentes de policía fueron enviados allá a ese lugar.
The victim in this case is 11 years old, Judge, initials JR. He left the house around 3 a.m. to go to a neighbor's home to use their Wi-Fi. The neighbor went and knocked on the defendant's door to let her know her son was out in the middle of the night.
Esto tiene que ver con una criatura, un menor de 11 años de edad, con iniciales JR. Él tocó a las 3 de la mañana, vinieron los vecinos a decir que estaba utilizando la red, el wifi de ellos.
When JR returned, his mother beat him. The officer noted the child had multiple injuries to his face. He was bleeding from the left side of his head. He had a small cut on the side of his neck and a mark on his neck.
Cuando llegó la policía, hablaron con cuando llegó el niño, regresó el niño JR, se habló a la policía. Cuando la policía llegó, ellos notaron que tenía sangre en su cara, que estaba sangrando de la cabeza y del cuello, también tenía marcas.
The child was transported to Eggleston Hospital, and there were 5 other children in the home that witnessed the incident. Initials AR, DR, TR, MR, and SH.
La criatura, el menor, fue transportado al hospital de Eggleston y testigos de esto fueron los otros 5 menores en la casa, AR, DR, TR, IMR y SH.
Judge DeFax is involved in this matter. It's my understanding that the children have been placed with a family friend.
El Departamento de Protección a Menores está envuelto en este caso y de lo que conocemos han sido los menores puestos en el cuidado de familiares o amigos.
Your Honor, given the age of the victim and the severity of the injuries in this case, the state is asking for a split bond.
Ya que dado la severidad de las acusaciones y la edad del menor, la fiscalía está pidiendo una fianza dividida.
And that'll be $2,500 good bond on the battery and SOB through pretrial on the cruelty counts, take family violence intervention program, complete parenting classes, follow any and all DFAX orders, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond.
Y eso empezaría con un bono de fianza fijo de $2,500 por el cargo de agresión. Y en cuanto a los otros cargos, se le recomienda por el resto de la fianza y también a seguir y a cursar un programa familiar, clases de cómo ser un buen padre estaría en probatoria y no puede poseer ni armas, ni alcohol, ni drogas durante el periodo de probatoria.
And Judge, as far as contact goes, I presume the defects, the juvenile court will handle it. So at this point, I would ask for no further violent contact.
Y en cuanto a si puede volver a verlos o el contacto que puede tener con los menores, me imagino que el Departamento de Protección a los Menores está envuelto en eso. Entonces, por mi cuenta, por la cuenta de la Fiscalía, estaríamos nada más pidiendo que no haya ningún contacto violento en el futuro.
And Your Honor, I believe that there's an Alberto Rodriguez on the line. It's my understanding that he's a juvenile. I don't know if you want to hear from him.
De lo que yo entiendo, su señoría, hay alguien que se llama Alberto Rodríguez en la línea, pero que es un menor de edad. Entonces, no sé si su señoría quiere hablar con él.
He's not the victim in this case.
Él no es la víctima en
I
este
believe
caso.
he's the oldest brother.
Creo que es el hermano mayor.
I'm concerned that these children are on the line while their mother is going through this hearing in jail.
Me preocupa que los hijos estén en el mismo Zoom cuando su madre está en la cárcel.
So whatever adult is there with them, she needs or he needs, whoever that is, that's it, the adult in the room. If you want to be on this call, I'm happy to hear from you, but I don't want the children on this call.
Entonces, el adulto que esté en la llamada con el menor de edad en este caso, si el adulto quiere hablar, yo estoy dispuesto a escuchar del adulto, pero no quiero que el menor o hable o esté presente en esta sesión.
Who is the adult there?
¿Quién es el adulto ahí?
Soy yo.
Yes, ma'am. I'm happy to have you on here, but I don't want the children on this call. You hear me?
Okay, yeah, that's fine. I put it in the room.
Okay. What's your name, ma'am?
¿Cómo se llama, señora? Usted.
Arminda.
¿Perdón?
Arminda.
¿Arminda?
Sí.
¿Qué?
And who are you to Miss Hernandez?
¿Qué parentesco tiene usted con la señora Hernández?
Yo soy su vecina. Yo soy la manager de aquí, de la colonia, de la comunidad, y yo la conozco a ella desde hace años.
I'm her neighbor. I am the manager in this community, and I've known her for years.
And are you taking care of the children while she is not there?
Y mientras ella no está ahí, ¿usted está cuidando de los niños?
Sí, yo estoy cuidando de los niños.
Yes, I am taking care of the children.
Okay, thank you. Well, for the meantime, please keep them out of the room.
Bueno, por el momento, por favor, manténgalos fuera de la sala donde está, de la habitación donde está.
Sí.
Yes, Mr. Cook.
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 37 years old. Not sure how long she has lived in this area, but she says a long time. She's a cleaner and makes maybe no more than $300 a month. She does not read or write in any language. Beyond that, I would prefer to leave it up to the court's discretion on what steps to take next.
Su señoría, mi clienta tiene 37 años de edad. No sabemos exactamente cuánto tiempo ha estado aquí, pero se refiere a muchísimo tiempo. Ella limpia, hace limpieza y gana $300 quizás al mes. No sabe leer ni sabe escribir y esperaría, pues delego a la corte a su señoría que disponga lo que se haga.
I would add that given her financial situation and giving her literacy issues, the FBIP, the parenting classes, anything like that would be probably outside her natural means and maybe outside her ability to truly take advantage of.
Lo que sí añadiría es que en cuanto a las clases de familiares y quizás están fuera de su habilidad económica y tal vez estén fuera de sus posibilidades también en cuanto a estudios.
Nothing further.
Do we have any information at this point in time from DFACS?
No, Your Honor, we don't.
El juez pregunta que si es que hay alguna información que se conozca del Departamento de Protección a Menores y la respuesta es que no, que aún no saben nada.
I would say, Your Honor, based on the information that's provided, DFACS has expressed that the children were given to a family friend, and I believe that's the person sitting in front of you, Mrs. Arminda Miranda. She said she's known the defendant for years. She's the manager of the location, and they're clearly in their home.
I am concerned about that placement, given what I've seen today. Okay, Mr. Cook, I want you to follow up with DFACS, so that either they need to get a plan in place or Ms. Desiano, if you can follow up with this. I need for someone to follow up with DFACS. I'm not going to give her a signature bond until I hear back from DFACS. You want to go ahead and interpret that, Madam Interpreter?
Su señoría está pidiéndole al señor Cook, a uno de con la persona con la que hablamos, que él haga un seguimiento con el Departamento de Protección a Menores para ver en dónde, cuál es el plan para los menores.
Okay, so at the present time for the battery, it'll be $1,000 good bond.
Por el momento, por el cargo de agresión, va a ser un bono de fianza de $1,000.
For each of the cruelty to children in the third degree, it'll be a $200 good bond.
Por cada una de las acusaciones de crueldad a menores es un bono de fianza de $200 por cada uno de los 5.
So that makes for a total of a $2,000 good bond.
Lo cual es un bono de fianza de un total de $2,000.
She is to adhere to any, if she gets out, she is to adhere to any orders, follow any orders of DFACS.
Si es que puede salir de la cárcel bajo esa fianza, necesita usted adherirse a todas las reglas y órdenes del Departamento de Protección a Menores.
Drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond.
Y mientras está bajo fianza, no puede poseer ningún arma, beber ninguna bebida alcohólica, usar o consumir ninguna droga.
Cook, I will be the judge that's on the SAP calendar on July 30th. And I would like to either have a report from DFACS or someone from DFACS at that court session.
Yo voy a ser el juez sentado en el siguiente calendario el 30 de julio. Y a esa fecha quiero alguien presente aquí del Departamento de Protección a Menores o un reporte de ellos, en este caso.
Okay.
Your Honor, as far as contact for the children, did you rule on that at this point?
Well, she has to follow any DFACS orders. I'm going to leave it to DFACS as to whether she should have contact if she gets out.
Okay.
que él va a dejar para delegando al Departamento de Protección a Menores, si es que usted, en cuanto al contacto con los niños, si es que sale usted con el bono de fianza.
Okay. Anything else on Ms. Hernandez?
¿Alguna otra cosa, señor Hernández?
Nothing from the state.
Nada
Nothing
más.
from defense, Your Honor.
Nada más del Estado, de la Fiscalía, nada más sobre la defensa.
Thank you, Madam Interpreter. I appreciate your assistance this afternoon. Good luck to you, Ms. Hernandez.
Buena suerte, señor Hernández. Eso es todo. Muchas gracias, señora Miranda. Thank you, Your Honor.
Muchas
Have a good afternoon.
Okay, do the same. Who do we have next?
Station number 24, Wyatt.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Wyatt. You've been charged in case 24 CR 004728J with battery family violence. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
1009 possession of marijuana conviction. And a 05 ag assault, possession of a firearm during the conviction.
Okay, Ms. Allen.
Thank you, Your Honor. This is an incident that occurred in May of this year, May 12, 2024. So this is a delayed arrest, as is typical in family violence cases. The victim in this case is the still, I believe, married wife of Mr. Wyatt, Mrs. Krista Wyatt, Krista Wyatt. We've been in contact with her. The defendant and this victim share 4 children. She reported during the incident when she called the police, and then on scene, the case was also followed up by an investigator, so not just an initial reporting officer, but an investigator followed up, and the victim reported that she had stayed over the night at her mother's house. When she'd returned home, she came and laid down on the couch. The defendant asked to speak to her. She obliged. They started to discuss her desire for a divorce. He became angry and grabbed her by her face. And in doing so, he used his fingernails to scratch down her face. She had visible injuries down her forehead all the way to her chin. These were observed by the police. The victim told the police that she pulled her firearm on the defendant at this point during the assault to stop the assault, and the defendant had fled the location. She identified him with his demographic information and through a picture shown to her by police to confirm the identification of the defendant. It looks like her position has changed since this incident in May, and she is now here on the Zoom, and you can hear from her if you'd like to. We'd be asking, based on his criminal history, which includes a aggravated assault conviction in 2005, that he have a $2,000 surety bond and have no contact whatsoever with the victim, in this case, Krista Wyatt. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons. Thank you.
Ms. Wyatt, if you're on the line and wish to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. I'll need for you to unmute yourself, and I'll have to swear you in. Is Ms. Wyatt with me? Is Ms. Wyatt?
Yes.
Okay, can you put some more light on yourself, ma'am? I can't see you. Okay, thank you. Can you raise your right hand for me? You swear affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Nothing but the truth.
Very good. Thank you, ma'am. You can place your hand down. What would you like to tell the court?
I want to say, when they first came here, I told the officer that I was intoxicated. I was messed up. This incident, it started because of something that I did. I played a part of it. And I told him I apologized, and we went forward with our life. I didn't mean to do it. I promise you I didn't. It was me. It wasn't him. I get intoxicated and everything just go overboard. And I need my husband home. We have an anniversary on the 24th. I need my husband home.
Okay. Has this happened before?
Everybody has a disagreement. But this is what they are saying. It didn't occur like that. And I told him when he came that I was intoxicated. I told him. I was told, oh, I don't even know how I even made it home. I couldn't even tell you how the officer looked.
But Ms. Wyatt, listen to me and answer my questions, okay?
Yeah.
Has this happened before?
No, we've been married 14 years. The 24th would be 15 years. It never happened.
This allegedly happened on May 12th. Have you all been living together since May 12th?
Yes. In the same home. We just went school shopping for the kids. We've been in the same home.
You have 4 children?
We have 4 children, 3 boys, 1 girl. One has a disability. I've been up all night.
Okay. Does he provide for those children?
Yes, he do.
Okay.
He did everything that I asked him to do. It was just that particular night. I can't tell you exactly what happened, but I just need him home.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Wyatt. Appreciate you being here this afternoon.
Thank you.
Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor, my client is 41 years old, as you heard. Those charges happened more than 10 years ago. They're very remote, and he's recommended for a signature on bond through pretrial level 2. That's what we would like to recommend and ask for. And no further violent contact. This happened more than 3 months ago. 2 months ago. And Your Honor, he is gainfully employed at City of Atlanta. Your Honor, we would like to request for signature on bond through pretrial. Thank you.
Your Honor, if I might ask Mrs. Wyatt a question.
Go ahead.
Mrs. Wyatt, I heard you say that you played a part in this incident. Are you saying that you scratched yourself on the face? What are we saying happened?
I'm telling you that I was intoxicated, so I don't know exactly what happened and how it happened. I was intoxicated. I can't tell you anything.
Okay, so your statement today is that you don't have a memory of the incident. You just know you were intoxicated.
I know I was intoxicated. I know I was.
Thank you.
I got pulled over and went to jail.
Thank you. That's all. I appreciate it. Your Honor, it is not unusual for a victim in crisis to call the police. In this situation, the defendant had fled the location. Nothing in the police report or the warrants indicate that this victim was intoxicated or that she was confused about what was going on. A warrant has been active, and very frequently after someone reaches out for help and the police get a warrant and then don't go find that individual, life resumes. And we would argue with 4 children in the home and the presentation of information that you've been given today in this hearing, we would advise that Mrs. Wyatt isn't in the best position to determine whether or not there's a safety issue here. We would ask for no contact. Thank you.
Given his history, it'll be a $5,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2. No further violent contact with Ms. Wyatt, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you all. Who do we have next?
Position number 6, Gibson.
Your Honor, may I say something?
Oh, I would like
Ma'am, I gave him a signature bond and no further violent contact. I don't need to hear any more from you.
mean,
ma'am.
I don't know about the courts. I was just trying to understand. I apologize.
You're fine. Have a
Thank
good
you.
afternoon.
You too.
Let's see, Mr. Gibson, I've already addressed Mr. Gibson previously, but Mr. Cook was not with us. I believe that was Mr. Cook's case, and he was in a breakout room or speaking with his client. So Mr. Gibson was charged in case 24 CR 004741F for criminal trespass. We did hear the history, but can we go back over the history for Mr. Cook's edification?
Sure. Gibson, 16, 2024 PI on probation for burglary. 2024 theft by receiving. Hold on. Yeah. Theft by receiving, theft by deception conviction. 2023 theft by receiving arrest. 2019 probation. Another 2019 arrest, petty theft, that was in another state. 2018 theft by deception, NOLO. 2018 FTA, simple battery, NOLO. 2016 shoplifting conviction.
And if you'll go back over it, Mr. Esiano, for us.
Yes, Judge. Very briefly, this incident happened yesterday around 3 a.m. The officers responded to a trespassing call at 2263 La Vista Court in Atlanta. The caller was the owner of the property. He stated that he saw via security footage a male wearing a white robe and no other clothes trying to kick in his door. He did eventually make entry into the residence. When officers arrived, they observed the deadbolt had been ripped off. They found the defendant upstairs naked, wearing sunglasses. The incident was captured on Ring camera. Our office has been in touch with the victim. He states he's the owner of the unit. He was not present during the incident. And he said the other owner of the unit has recently passed away, and that's why the unit was unoccupied. He states he plans to return to that unit to stay. He wants no contact and for him to stay away. Our office was in touch with the neighbor as well, and it's clear that this is a random incident where someone broke into the neighbor's house. And the state, given his history, is on probation for burglary and has 2 other convictions since that time, is a $1,000 good bond, no further contact with the victim, stay away from the incident location, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol out on bond. And I believe the court's already sounded for Mr. Morrison, and he did not wish to speak.
Mr. Cook.
Yeah, sure. My client is 29 years old. He's lived in the area his entire life. He works for Burger King, has some fairly modest income. He denies the charges. He does take care of a 15-month-old daughter. We have no problem with any stay away or no further contact. We would be seeking a signature bond at whatever level the court deems appropriate.
All right, it'll be a $500 good bond, no further contact with Mr. Morrison, stay away from the La Vista court address, and no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Gibson.
All right, thank you.
Number 1, Andrew.
Good afternoon, Mr. Andrews. You've been charged in case 24 CR 004737J with simple battery family violence. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
14, 2024 probation. Got a case out of state court for obstruction and disorderly conduct. That should have timed out by now. It was 20 CR 006052A. 2018 simple battery DV dismissed. 07 simple battery dismissed. That's all.
And Your Honor, this is the dual arrest case with Miss Blair. Just a brief recap, Mr. Andrews was in the kitchen. He states that Miss Blair slapped him and struck him in the head with a metal water cup. Mr. Andrews had a small cut on his hand. Miss Blair told the police that the parties were arguing. Mr. Andrews cornered her and grabbed her face, and she hit him in the head with a jug. And they started fighting. They were both arrested. The state's requesting a signature bond through pretrial. I believe you ordered no further violent contact with Miss Blair, so I'd ask for the same thing for this defendant. 1 day of anger awareness, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol out on bond.
Yes, Ms. Kim.
This is
Oh,
Mike Kesher.
I'm sorry.
We would only object to the anger awareness class. We have no objection to any of the other recommendations, Your Honor.
I ordered Ms. Blair to have anger awareness, so I'll do the same for Mr. Andrews. It'll be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1, 1 day anger awareness, no further violent contact with Ms. Blair, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
If I may, we are registered gun owners. The weapons they were always locked away. So, you know, just in case for any reason, I don't want to get pulled over and I'm armed or she's armed. So I'm not sure how we.
As a condition, you're gonna have to give up those firearms until this is resolved. Okay, so you don't want to, you'll be in violation of this order if you maintain firearms.
So how do we do that?
You can speak with Mr. Cook at a later date as far as how you can relinquish those firearms. He should be able to assist you.
So we're also like starting a security business. So this result is getting kind of sticky as far as with the firearms. The firearms.
You'll have to figure that out because I've given you a signature bond, but you'll have to figure the rest of it out. As a condition of this bond, you'll have no firearms.
What's that level?
So they're gonna
Level 1. Okay, who do we have next?
Position 7 and number 8, Gray.
Good afternoon, Mr. Gray. You've been charged in case 24 CR 004742E with battery family violence, and in case 24 CR 004743E with battery family violence. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
No.
Your Honor, if I may, I'll go in chronological order, start with position 8 that occurred first. This incident took place on April 21st of last year. Officers were dispatched to 3765 Mays Crossing, Southwest in Atlanta regarding a dispute. The victim, Kia Gray, who advised the night before she and her husband were arguing when the defendant grabbed her phone and pushed her to the floor. And while she was on the floor, he stomped on her foot. The victim suffered swelling and a cut to her foot as a result of the assault. In position 7, that case happened April 13th of this year. Officers responded to the same incident location regarding another dispute between these same parties. The victim in this case is the same, Kia Gray. She advised that the night before she was arguing with her husband when he stood up and grabbed her and slammed her into a breaker box. The parties separated, the argument continued inside, and he grabbed her again and slammed her on the bed. In the second incident, she had visible bruising on both of her arms and her left thigh. Our office has been in touch with Miss Gray today. She states the parties are married. They do not live together. They share 3 children. She confirmed the events in the warrant. She states that this is not a regular occurrence and the defendant is not a violent person. She states that she's moved from the incident location. The defendant's been staying there with his parents. There's been no violence since April 12th. She's not in fear of the defendant and would like to continue contact. Your Honor, of course, the state's concern in that is this is now the second incident involving the same victim, so the state would still ask for no contact. As it relates to position 8, the first incident, that appears to be his first arrest. The state would request a signature bond through pretrial, no further contact with the victim, a stay away from the incident location, taking complete family violence intervention program, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond. As it relates to position 7, the state would request a $2,500 surety bond with the same conditions. And at this time, if you could sound for Ms. Gray.
If Ms. Kia Gray is on the line and wishes to address the court, I see you there, Ms. Gray. If you wish to address the court, I'll need for you to raise your right hand. Do you swear affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. What would you like to tell the court?
First, he recently just moved back in with me like a few weeks ago. We were not living together since the incident. We've been working together to repair our family. Mr. Gray is the primary provider for our family. We've been together for like over 20-something years. And that was an occurrence. And like I expressed to the family division court, that was an occurrence. It happened. But that's no longer our situation today. We have 2 kids in college, one in Louisiana playing baseball, and one here in Georgia going to Georgia State. So the other occurrence, I'm not really sure. It was not my phone, it was his phone. But as far as Mr. Gray, he's my husband, been together. He's not a violent person. That it happened. We can't change it, but it did. But was that his norm? No. And since then, he did leave the home. He had not been back at that home. I live in a new property now, and I've allowed him to come back to my property because since April, whatever that date was, 12th, nothing has happened. It's just been like more so rebuilding and reflecting upon our life and just trying to contain ourselves and just be better individuals, honestly. And that's what we are. But no, Mr. Grace is not that's not who he is. But yeah, so if you guys can, whatever leniency you all can extend to him would be awesome. I mean, we're trying to get our kids off and going, and life happened in that moment. But that is not my husband. That does not, those occurrences do not define him. And that's just the truth.
Found it necessary to call the police on 2 occasions regarding, and I take it that if you call the police, that's a serious matter and you weren't able to handle it yourself. So you've done that on
when I called the police, he had already chose to say, you know what, it's hot, it's heated, let me just go, and which was best, honestly, for both of us at that moment. I never feel in danger. He comes and visit my home all the time. I mean, we have cookouts. It's normal. Just on that day, it was an argument that got out of control. But like I stated, Mr. Gray is not a typical violent person. He is not. He's normally pretty mild. Just on those 2 days, it just kind of blew up, and it happened like that. But that's not who he is as an individual.
Is this your case, Mr. Cook?
Yes, Your Honor. Your Honor, my client is 43 years old. He's lived in this area his entire life. He's been a commercial truck driver with a CDL for almost 20 years. He has an associate's degree. They do have children together, and as you heard from his wife, they have resided together now. The last incident was April, so they resided for a few months, and there was a year between the 2 incidents. We would be asking the court for a signature bond at whatever level the court deems appropriate, no further violent contact, and certainly then no stay away. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Okay, position number 7. It'll be a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1, 1-day anger awareness, no further violent contact with Ms. Gray, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. For position 8, it will be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial, no further violent contact with Ms. Gray, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you both, Mr. and Ms. Gray.
Thank you.
The next case is number 11, Johnson.
Good afternoon, Mr. Johnson. You have been charged in case 24 CR 004724A with simple assault, criminal trespass and damage to property, willful obstruction of law enforcement officers, and possession of marijuana less than an ounce. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
Fifth arrest, 2023 suspended license out of Heard County. Got an open case in Clayton County. It says license learner permit violation, possession of drug-related objects, possession of marijuana less than an ounce, and weapon possession during a crime. 2013 ag assault trespass, there was no bill. 2011 simple assault obstruction disorder conduct dismissed. And he got holds out of Clayton County and from Franklin PD. That's it.
Ms. Dunlap?
This incident stems from July 11, 2024 at, I believe it's 6360 Powers Ferry Road Northwest. Officers responded to a civil dispute between two parties. Mr. Khalil Willett, who was a Lyft driver, stated the defendant threw a rock through his window and took off on foot. Officers had observed the male in the area. He took flight. He didn't appear to officers telling him to stop. They had found him at a liquor store, and then he again took flight. He threw his sandals and hat before taking flight again. And then officers saw him again, it looks like on July 15, 2024, in response to a disorderly person. Other officers were handling the scene, but remembering the defendant, officers spoke to the manager and asked about who closed the restaurant on July 11, 2024, because the defendant had ran in that direction. When they were speaking to the manager, he advised the defendant, who identified himself as Cash as a nickname, was inside, and told officers his real name was Melvin. They were able to detain the defendant inside the restaurant after speaking to him, admitting that he threw the rock and he took off on officers on that date. Defendant was also in possession of 8 grams of marijuana. Our office did speak to the victim. He's a Lyft driver. He stated he picked the defendant up. He was acting disrespectful, so he told him to get out the car. When he got out the car, he threw a rock in his window. Not sure if the victim is on Zoom, but we could sound for him when appropriate. The state is looking for a signature bond through pretrial. No further contact with the victim, Khalil Willett. That's Kaheil Willet. I don't believe a stay away is necessary because that is I believe is a restaurant address. 1 day anger awareness and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond.
Willett is on the line and wishes to address the court. Now is your opportunity. Yes, Mr. Cook.
Yes, Your Honor, my client is 31 years old. My client is 31 years old. He's lived in this area his entire life. He does kitchen work, and he denies the allegations that stated in the warrant. We have no objection to the recommendation except for the anger management class.
Yes, good afternoon. I'm online. Kahili Willett.
Oh, yes. Good afternoon, Mr. Willett. If you'd like to address the court, I'll need for you to raise your right hand for me. Do you swear affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, you can place your hand down. What would you like to tell the court, sir?
Yeah, when this guy threw the rock, it damaged my car. I mean, I got the window fixed as far as I bought it from the junk shop and put it in myself, but my car still has damage that needs to be repaired. I mean, how do I go about this whole situation?
Okay. This is just a bond hearing today, Mr. Willett. As the case goes forward, the solicitor's office will stay in touch with you. And if you have any property damage, as you're saying that you do, make sure that you maintain your receipts so that you can get them to the solicitors. And if there is, once this comes to resolution, you'll have your information ready for any restitution that you're seeking. Okay. All right. You have any other questions for me, Mr. Willett?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you for being here this afternoon. For the simple assault, it'll be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. For each of the other charges, it will be $1,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1, makes for a total of a $5,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. No further contact with Mr. Willett, no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Johnson.
The next person is number 12.
Good afternoon, Mr. Ole Baraz. You've been charged in case 24 CR 004725A with simple battery family violence. Is there a history?
All he has is driving and marijuana. That's all.
Okay. Ms. Dunlap.
This incident happened on July 15, 2024 at 6850 Peachtree Dunwoody Road in Atlanta. The victim in this case, Ms. Zuri Perez, shares a child with the defendant. She was told to come over by the defendant's girlfriend, a Ms. Camacho, because she stated the defendant was acting strangely with their juvenile child. I don't have his initials. Mrs. Camacho let the victim in through the garage. Once the defendant saw her, he began yelling at her. The argument escalated. The defendant smacked her on the right side of her head with an open hand. He then ran to her car and took off in it and came back on foot, and then got in the car with the girlfriend, Ms. Camacho. The victim, Ms. Zuri, Z-U-R-I Perez, stated that the smack or slap happened. It was witnessed by their juvenile son. The state is looking for a signature bond through pretrial. No further contact with the victim, Ms. Zuri Perez. I don't believe a stay-away is needed because I believe that it's his address. Family violence intervention program, no drugs, alcohol, weapons while on bond, and we can sound for the victim when appropriate.
Ms. Perez is on the line and wishes to address the court. Now is your opportunity to do so.
And the juvenile son's initials are EB, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Cook.
Yes, Your Honor, we would object to the FVIP, and we would like a third-party transfer for visitation with the child they share together. Beyond that, we have no objection to the recommendation.
Your Honor, if I may, I thought she was going to speak, but we did have a chance to speak with her. She did say that she confirmed the events in the warrant. She stated the defendant had been violent with her in the past when they were in a relationship. She had never called the police. She does not want to have any contact with the defendant and wants him to stay away from her mother's address, which is a 3195 Corner Oak Drive. I believe she lives there in Norcross, and she does not agree with a third-party transfer. I'm unaware of any custody arrangement they do have, but she does not want that.
It'll be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1-day anger awareness, no further contact with Zuri Perez, stay away from her residence and her mother's residence, the Corner Oak Drive address. They are to maintain any custody agreements that they have currently, third-party transfer for visitation, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, sir.
Position number 18, Stevens.
Good afternoon, Mr. Stevens. You've been charged in case 24 CR 004734G with battery family violence. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
6 total. On probation, possession of a firearm during a commission, possession of oxycodone with the intent to distribute. It's 23 SC 186014, 2021 FTA 2015 probation. That's it.
This incident happened on July 15, 2024 at 1371 Kimberly Way, Southwest in Atlanta. The victim in there is an Alexis Jones, spelled E-L-L-E-X-I-S. Officers responded to the location regarding a physical dispute between a male and a female. They observed the defendant walking and asked him what happened. He stated Ms. Jones didn't want to leave the house. When they went back to the house to speak to Ms. Jones, she had bruises on her forehead and right side of her neck. She told officers the defendant became angry after a verbal argument and started to destroy the home. And when she attempted to stop him, he began physically assaulting her. Our office did have a chance to speak with Ms. Jones. She said they are in a relationship. I'm sorry. They live together on and off, share no children. She said this incident location is her residence. It's not the first time it's happened. He's been violent with her in the past. First time she's called the police because she's tired of it. She stated she has bruising all over her body and she just had surgery on Thursday, is recovering from that. She wants no contact with the defendant and wants him to stay away from the residence. I believe she is on Zoom, so we can sound for her when appropriate. The state is looking for a signature bond through pretrial. No further contact with the victim, Alexis Jones. A stay away from her home address, 1371 Kimberly Way, Southwest. A very family violence intervention program, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond.
Jones, if you would like to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. You, of course, don't have to if you don't choose to, but if you do, you have to unmute yourself, activate your camera, and I'll have to swear you in. It does not appear that she wishes to address the court. Ms. Kim?
Your Honor, my client is 30 years old and he moved out from that location. So he has no objection to stay away and have no contact with her. And Your Honor, he is gainfully employed as a haircut barber. He does have 12th grade education. He is still finishing up his GED at Atlanta Tech College. And Your Honor, he does have a very, very serious medical condition that he has to take care of. He also has a scratches and marks on his body, but apparently the police couldn't see his marks. He denies the allegation and he was defending himself. And we would like to have a signature on bond through pretrial level 1, and that's it, Your Honor. Thanks. He does not have to go back to that location either.
Okay, it will be a $5,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2, 1-day anger awareness, no further contact with Ms. Jones, stay away from the Kimberly Way address, no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Stevens.
Position number 5.
Hi, Judge. Kevin Pratt for the defendant.
Good afternoon, Mr. Pratt.
Good afternoon, Judge.
Your Honor, if we could hold this to the end of the calendar and turn the public Zoom on, I'd appreciate it.
There's nobody else in the courtroom. We can go ahead and do him.
Okay, so if we can go off the YouTube, please.